as somebody who's seen this movie, it is a little TV showish, which I
Yeah,
know is probably what you wanted to talk about.
pretty much.
This is a film where it introduces plot points and characters and just sections of this story throughout the film, whether that be at the start or in the last 30 minutes. And it's jarring because I've never seen a movie structured like that, because that's how TV is structured. But I do kind of see the vision. I see where this story is trying to go. I appreciate every different plot point. I think each plot point had some really good scenes. There are individual scenes in this movie that are some of the best scenes I've seen in like this year in terms of filmmaking. There's a about a 30-minute village raid sequence, which I think is one of the best scenes of the whole year. It's really good and really intense. And at first you think that they're trying to make Native Americans look like horrible, and I got really worried, but then it contextualizes that later on, and then you feel less bad about it because you're like, okay, so this is how it works, where they're not all terrible. It's just that there's a few extremists in the tribe of Native Americans who are doing this. The issue is that after that scene, we had about an hour of just kind of fluff before we got another great scene. And that's my other big issue with this film. It's not too long or too short, but it's also not just right. Because you have these scenes of fluff that on their own are powerful scenes, but they feel underdeveloped. At one point, you have these soldiers who are going off to go and fight in the Civil War, and you have people being emotional towards these soldiers and just being sad, that they're leaving. But you never really saw these people interact with those soldiers to contextualize and like to really make you feel that scene. And instead, it just kind of felt more like, oh, you know, they're sad that they're leaving and that's emotional, but we don't know the bond that these characters have with one another. So it's a scene that was good but could have been so much better with another scene, but then that would have made this 3-hour movie even longer. So that's kind of the dilemma it faces. But then also they could have cut out that scene, but then you have less ways to connect with the characters who are mourning. I guess my final note is that I'm excited for part two.
Are you?
Yeah.
As a
I
person who sat through the whole first movie, you
as
say that.
somebody who
All
sat
right.
through the whole first movie, I'm honestly really highly anticipating part two. And it's like that, Trap, and Alien Romulus for me in August are like probably my top three movies.
Does that lingering thought of it's just TV, like it's just a glorified TV episode, has that gone anywhere?
Yes, that is something that I've thought about.
Okay, all right.
Um, but I just kind of am like, I want to wait till part two because I feel like that there's a reason why this is a movie rather than TV. Because I feel like
To
TV
make money,
financially, no, but financially, I think TV is safer. Because a show like Yellowstone is successful,
right? But
and
also
Yellowstone is
like
similar to this.
I think given just the length of it, like it's not going for a multi-season sort of thing. It's just kind of like a couple parts, like
Yeah,
more
like it
more
could
kind of
have.
mini
Yeah,
series.
like it could have been. They probably could have made this like a mini series type of thing. But also, Costner's talked about making more than four parts. He said, "Yeah, it's four parts,
Don't
but I could make
don't.
more."
I'm
So
sure he
there could have
could.
been seasons. I
Um,
think that there's a reason why Costner has this in mind. I think that there's some cinematic moments that are being set up for part two that will make it justifiable for why it's a film rather than TV.
I'm going to tell you right now exactly what I think you sound like. I think you sound like someone who watched the first three phases of the MCU and loved every bit of it,
Mm-hmm.
and then watched the fourth phase of the MCU while everybody else was saying, Marvel fell off, They got bad after Endgame. None of these movies are going anywhere. They're not giving us enough to care about the characters anymore. Where is this all going? And you were just sitting there lying to yourself, trying to gaslight yourself into thinking it was good by holding on to phases 5 and 6, the end of this whole multiverse saga, thinking that it will all lead somewhere worthwhile. And unfortunately, I do not think that that is an effective way of filmmaking. I disagree with the idea that a part one of two, or I guess in this case, four, needs to be incomplete for the whole story to work. And I could be totally wrong, but the way you described it makes it sound like they set a bunch of stuff up, be it like plot points or characters, that did not get paid off because it will get paid off later.
Yeah, there is no payoff. There
Okay.
I'm trying to think. There's certain moments that I guess kind of got paid off. There's like a sort of romance that develops at the end that seems like a
Develops but
very
does not.
no,
Okay.
no, no. It's a romance that starts at the end, but like had been developing throughout
Oh,
the
okay.
film, and
Kind of.
I think that because of the arc of one of those characters who starts that romance, I'd say that that is completing a character arc.
So one minor subplot in a 3-hour movie
Yeah,
is what I'm hearing.